Welcome, paparazzi fans! Hi guys, thanks for tuning in. We decided to make a paparazzi YouTube channel to kind of let you know a little bit more about everything we have to offer, from franchise opportunities to kind of a behind the scenes look at what we do here at Puparazzi International. I am Taylor.
I'm Tammy. I'm the owner, franchisor,
There you go.
mom,
Yeah.
grandma,
Exactly, all of it.
pet stylist,
Yes.
office manager.
Yes. Well, I'm going to ask you more about your background story.
Okay, go for it.
And I am a bath and brush specialist. So I groom all the dogs that are bath and brush only. And I also run all the social media and emails and everything like that.
Yeah. So don't think she's lazy, because
No.
she's not.
Oh, and a full-time mom.
And she's
to
a
2
full-time
kids.
mom, so she works this paparazzi business around the kids' schedule. Okay, so a little bit of background on me. It could be a long story. So, because I've been doing it a long time. I started grooming out of my parents' home when I was 14 years old. My dad, for whatever reason, thought, I think they were trying to save money, honestly, now that I think about it.
Probably.
They had poodles and they wanted me to groom them because I liked animals
that
so
makes
much.
sense.
Yeah. It was kind of more like scissors and chopping and, you know. And then a good friend of mine, Denise, which I probably will have to have on the show.
Yeah, we have to interview her.
We'll have to interview Denise. She had been learning from a lady who was like this poodle breeder. And she ended up learning the basic poodle cut. And I remember going over there and her teaching me in one day or maybe a couple days the poodle cut. And I basically self-taught myself after that. She helped me get the right equipment, the professional equipment. I bought my first pair of shears. Never forget it. I don't think they're still in business, but it was Leonetti's downtown, down off of like McDowell and like not 18th Street, like 7th Street and McDowell area. He used to be a scissor guy, and I still have that pair of shears to this day. Obviously, can't sharpen them anymore. They used them for ribbon for years. But that was my first pair of shears. So anyways, that's how I got started. I learned, and then I had a book. My parents bought me a book. And then my dad, being working for Crystal Bottled Waters, he had customers that allowed me to groom on their dogs. We didn't charge anything. It was
It was free labor.
It was free labor,
No,
and it was
free
just
school.
to give me, honestly, I just went by the book. But there's a lot more books that groomers can now take advantage of. But I self-taught. I did schnauzers and poodles because that was like a common breed. Oh, and cocker spaniels. Those were common breeds back in the 80s. Oh. So now we see a lot of Shih Tzus, Lhasas, Yorkies, and every mix in between.
And Labradoodles.
Oh God! And then we get the
Golden
Labradoodles
doodles. And any kind of doodle. We'll have to touch.
We'll
on
talk
that.
about doodles one day. So I've been grooming 39 years.
Yeah.
I mean, I went from
Longer than I've been alive. So.
grooming on my
then-
parents' back patio.
Yeah. But then you got to, I think, be really hands-on with me and my brother. And I mean, I grew up in a vet hospital that she groomed out of.
She grew up in a dog crate.
Yeah, pretty much in a dog crate.
Don't.
My
tell
brother
anybody.
may have been in a dog crate once because he ran away from home when he was 3.
just once. Maybe.
Just once. But it's
Well,
okay.
you guys took naps in dog crates sometimes.
Well, it must have been comfy. So,
Yeah. So don't judge.
no.
Just knowing that you got to do what you got to do. I was a working mom.
But the funny thing is that I would always try to pretend to be sick just so I could go with her to work.
She was never.
And apparently she didn't really care.
Sick.
No, I don't think I was ever really sick.
So, I worked out of my parents' home for we'll see, I was 14. So I think when I was 18, I started working for my friend Denise. In the meantime, her parents bought a pet shop, and they asked me if I wanted to work. So I used to work there. I actually went and worked for Ann Tipton, which was the lady who taught her how to groom.
Oh, cool.
She actually passed away a few years ago, so she's no longer around, but she had a large breeding place. She raised a lot of poodles for years. I worked for her salon for a couple years, and guess what? There's a girl that I'm going to bring on to interview. Her name's Jody. She worked there at the same time. This is kind of a weird story. So I always believe you have people in your life that you surround yourselves with. Jody, her and I weren't close at the time. We're a few years apart. But I was working as a groom, and she was actually working as kennel help at the pet store at the same time. We were in the same small circle of people, but we didn't know each other. We've become really good friends now. And then after that, working for Ann, I still worked for myself, back and forth. I worked for a Sun City boarding kennel and animal hospital grooming facility for a few years. That's where you came into the picture.
Oh, okay.
My daughter, that's where it started. She was a baby.
Yes.
And I used to have to bring her.
I'm going to probably insert a picture. Is that the one of me in the walker?
Uh-huh.
Okay,
Yeah,
I'll insert it.
Second to final job before I really launched my mobile pet spa in 2010 was I worked for an animal hospital for almost 10 years. And that was probably one of the best jobs.
Yeah.
I thought my career move was, when you work as a pet groomer and you work for somebody, you really don't have, most places don't offer retirement, 401k or anything like that. And because I was getting older, I was looking at that as, wow, I need to start kind of paying attention. A regional sales rep for a very high-end breed-specific dog food company. And I fought my way to that interview. I mean, it was amazing. I felt so good in that interview. My knowledge of animals, my experiences, and I nailed the interview and got the job. And it was my very first salary-based job, company car.
Yeah, that was fun.
I had my own route. I set my own hours. It was a really great job. Unfortunately, it ended too soon. I decided to get a grooming job again. I worked for a pet resort here in Arizona. I opened up one of their locations for them, and I worked for them for a year. I built their grooming business. I kind of set a standard, helped set a pricing schedule and everything like that. And one day, it was like the light bulb went on, and I remember people asking me, my gosh.
And we worked there together. So that was another job we worked together. So that was kind of fun.
You worked cleaning kennels, huh?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. She cleaned kennels.
I cleaned up the pee.
Yeah, she cleaned it. She let dogs out. She did daycare stuff, I think, a little bit. Did you? Yeah. And it was one of those jobs. I mean, it was a great job. But again, when you get up in age, like I've been getting older, but it was one of those things where it was an eye-opener. And I remember my uncle telling me, why are you working for somebody? Why aren't you working for yourself? Why don't you own your own business? And, going through, I went through a divorce in 2008.
Yeah.
I launched the business in 2010. So I went through a divorce in 2008. It was one of the hardest times in my entire life. For years, I wasn't my true authentic self. I wasn't who I should be, and kind of lost myself in that whole process and went through a really, really rough divorce. And I think going back into the grooming industry and having just a little bit of freedom away from the home environment made me feel better. And then, of course, having the right people pushing you to do things and support you in the decisions, it made me start to think twice, like, what am I doing? Here I am going on almost 40 years old, 40 plus years old, and I'm still working for somebody else, and where's that going to get me? Mm-hmm. I mean, I have to start thinking about retirement. I have to start thinking about what I'm going to do at the end of all this. I mean, I can't work, and I refuse to be one of those people that's going to be working in a truck or for somebody in my 60s, and still have nothing left at the end of it. So that was my big push to really launch this business. And I still thank God every day that I'm sure he guided me in my thinking. She does emails 5 days a week for me. She handles posting a lot of the social media material on all of our different social media platforms.
And I'm going to be running our YouTube page. So everything that I edit, please bear with me. It's from freshman year.
High school.
Yeah, it's from high school, freshman year. TV production days. So shout out to Mr. Wyman. I'm working with what I have. We didn't go out and spend a ton of money yet on any high-tech cameras or high-tech editing. So we are planning on doing probably at least one a week. Probably.
We're going to shoot for 1 a week, maybe go to 2 a week. And what we want you guys to do is we want you to share it.
Yeah.
We want you to join our channel, watch it. You guys can share it through social media, through your Facebook or whatever. We want to get our faces out there. We want to get our business out there. And we feel like we have a lot that we can offer as far as knowledge. I mean, we're not going to always just be talking about ourselves. We're going to be talking about different topics. We're going to be talking about animals' health. We're going to talk about dog foods. We're going to be talking about, what we do during the day.
And we'd love suggestions. So if you want to comment below and give us some suggestions, and don't forget to subscribe. That way, whenever we post a new video, if you love our page, then please do that or give us a thumbs up. We'd appreciate it. So
shows the love.
Yes, share the love a little bit. But other than that, this is kind of just an intro about us and what we're about and how we got started, and kind of very broad. But next week, if you're looking to see something specific, comment below. We will be doing weekly shout outs. So we do partner with Easy Canine Rescue. We've adopted from them multiple times. We have great dogs from them. And so I'm going to talk more with the
coordinator.
Coordinate some stuff and do some shout outs every week, and what dogs are adoptable, where you can get in contact, what info you need to fill out if you're interested in adopting a dog here in Arizona. So
that's probably about it for now.
Probably. I think that's it. Yay, we got our first video done.
Video number 1.
Yes, all done.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. We'll see ya next week. Thank you.
Bye.